Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be going over some of the mods I have done to my mini LMT. So you've seen a couple videos on this already that I posted, and I wasn't super thrilled with the way it handled. It's a fun little truck, don't get me wrong. It's a lot of fun to bash around with. But after 15, 20 minutes, it kind of gets a little bit old just because it's really squirrely. It's hard to drive in a straight line at speed, especially on carpet. I think if you're driving this outdoors in dirt, uh, it's going to work much better because these tires can kind of slide around a little bit. But on carpet, which is kind of what I bought it for, to run indoors when the weather's bad, it tends to flip over a lot. And that's no fun with any RC, right? After a while, it gets really old having to walk over and flip your car back over. So it tends to be really bouncy and just traction roll a lot in the corners. And I get it. It's a monster truck. It's not really made for performance handling wise, but it was just to the point where, out of 4 or 5 of us that bought these, no one's really running. We ran them like once, and no one really is even bringing them with them anymore. It just really kind of wasn't as much fun as we thought it would be. And a lot of it came down to just the way it handled. It's just kind of frustrating. It's fun for a little bit, hitting little jumps. If you keep it really small scale and low speed, it's fine, but that kind of gets boring after a while. So I wanted to see what I could do to really increase the performance on this rig. So you'll see right away, it looks a little different. I did some different lights in here. I'll show you guys in a minute. I shaved the tires down, which I'm going to show you that was a huge increase. And a couple other things. I'll get you in here a little bit closer and go over everything I did to this. Let's go through this. So first of all, you'll notice I am running stability control. I switched this up when I did my brushless kit in here. I had to add a separate receiver because the original one is like an all-in-one combined ESC and receiver. So I switched this over to my FlySky GT5 system, which has the receivers I use do have a built-in gyro. So I have this thing set up with a little bit of stability control, not too much. You'll see in the running video, I will point out one section where I tried turning it up, and apparently it was too much, and the thing just started fishtailing like crazy, out of control. And I tried turning it off just to see if it was really making an improvement, and it does make a legit improvement on the drivability of this, and it just kind of keeps it going in a straight line well enough so that you can really hit jumps at full speed, rather than getting a swirl. And again, guys, I want to kind of reiterate that all of my experience with this so far is on carpet, indoors on carpet, and it's on a track. We typically race mini Vs, mini Ts. So your experience might be totally different than mine with this truck. You might be thinking, what's he talking about? This thing handles great. Well, if you're running it outdoors, dirt, concrete, wood, maybe even different carpeting, it might handle completely different. Shaving these tires down made a gigantic improvement in drivability. And I'll insert a clip here on how I did that.
The key is to have some really good little snips like these, just some little like flush cutters. They have to be like flush with that straight angle on the bottom, or else they're going to kind of dig into the tire. So I just kind of start from the outside here and just give it a little snip, and like one or two, and then I usually kind of like, don't pull at it while you're cutting it. Just hold this like out of the way, and then just make sure you're pushing you're holding these perfectly flat against the tire, and then just snip. And occasionally you'll have to go back and just, depending on how sharp and brand new your snips are. It's probably good if these are brand new and they're not all chewed up, and kind of, you don't want anything that has a lot of play, floppiness in it, or they're just not going to be super precise. And again, it doesn't have to be like exact, you know what I mean? This is going to wear down a little bit.
Yeah, let me show you what else I got going on inside of here. Just unplug these lights and I'll show you these lights. So let's start out with that, because I know a lot of guys had questions about these. You'll see here, essentially, this is just a light strip I got off Amazon. I'll put a link in down below. I think it's sold under the brand name Electhawk. It comes with a little lighting controller. It comes with 2 LED light strips. You can get multiple colors. You could do green if you have the regular Gravedigger. This blue color is really cool. What we found is that it's actually almost like a black light color, and that's why you'll see these little springs, which are also changed. These are mini T springs, and they're pink. And for whatever reason, they tend to glow pink, which I think looks really cool. It has like an 80s kind of roller rink vibe to it. and I kind of really like it. So these real simple. I just took one light strip, went all the way around on the inside of the body, used a little E6000 underneath because it does have a peel and stick backing, but it's not very sticky. So I put a little E6000 under it, let it dry, and it's quite simply just a Futaba style connector that I just plug directly into my receiver. So that's that, guys. And I do have, here's my FlySky FSBS6 6-channel receiver. It's just what I run in all of my cars. I have a bunch of these lying around, so I threw that in here, not knowing if I wanted the gyro, but honestly, it works really well with the gyro. And this is my system here. It's just a Hobby Wing quick run 16BL30, and it has a 4500 kV brushless motor in it. I lowered my battery. I took out the stock battery tray, and I just ran. This is quite simply just a Velcro strap. If you want to do like a down and dirty, cheap and easy, just run a Velcro strap under your, I put this little piece of plastic. It's not even attached, right? I put this little piece of plastic in here over the chassis stiffener here. The strap goes around the anti-sway bar back here and the motor, and I just lay this in here. Cut a little piece of plastic, lay it in here, and I strapped my battery in with that. And it worked perfectly fine. It lowered it quite a bit and improved the handling tremendously. So I have a low CG kit that's going to essentially do this. It's going to mount at this height and then also mount the ESC tray and receiver lower in the front. So I think that's going to be a huge benefit too, because this ESC is pretty big and heavy. Also, I am running these Mini T. I believe these are Mini T. I'll double check and put a link. I believe these are Mini T front springs, and they're the pink, which are the softest all around. It did allow it to kind of sag a little bit more down into the travel, so it sits a little bit lower. And I moved my shock positions. You can move. See all these holes in the chassis, front and rear? You can move your shock mount. Your upper shock mount has to occupy 2 holes. So you can move it down, which is going to raise your chassis, which is you don't want. So keep the topmost mount in the topmost hole, but you can move them, forward or back. The stock position is in the center. So I moved them in the back, which angled the shocks in, which also helps pull the chassis down a tiny bit, and it makes the shocks a little bit softer. I have not messed with the shock fluid yet. I think it definitely needs something. I almost feel like it needs a little bit lighter shock fluid so that the shocks absorb more of the bumps, because you could see in a lot of the running video that when it lands, it gets an extra little kick, or it kicks to the side, or it likes to bounce around. And I know a lot of that is from the tires, and it just is what it is. It's kind of what monster trucks do, but I want to try to tune a little bit of that out so it just kind of lands a little more under control. The tires, shaving the tires definitely made them very supple and soft. And I can see just in the video and just running it in person that when it lands, it definitely kind of soaks up more, and it has a little bit less rebound bounce from the tires alone. So that helped out a lot. Happy with that. Still running stock servo, still running stock axles, everything else. I did also add these automotive wheel weights, just 2 on either axle, front and rear, just to try to add a little bit more weight down low. And I was curious to see how that would affect it. And I think that also helped a little bit. A little bit of more weight would even be better. My shock limit straps here, which you could see a previous video, super easy. This is just some nylon cord. Essentially didn't cost me anything to do that. Yeah, and that's pretty much it, guys. Check out, I'm going to show you the running video now. I'll do a little voiceover on that just to kind of give some of my other thoughts on this truck. And yeah, but stay tuned if you want to see some additional mods.
It's definitely better.
Okay, so on with the running footage here. So I'll say right off the bat that I'm still running the stock servo, horn, and my suspension links have quite a bit of slop in them. So none of that is helping this thing handle well. But that being said, it's so much better. It's so much better than it was stock. I could actually get around the track with some speed. I mean, nobody else was running the mini LMTs this night, But so in comparison, I'm running it against other, you know, mini Losis, and of course it's not going to really keep up with them. But what I noticed was I could actually get some solid laps in, and I almost feel like it's probably as quick around this track as my Mini T was when it was stock, before I did a brushless kit or any upgrades to that. So that alone is super impressive, considering when this thing was stock, if you tried to get around this track with any type of speed, it was just flipping over a lot, and it just wasn't any fun. Now, I get it, it's not really made for racing on a track like this, but I mean, if you're going to do actual like scale monster truck racing on carpet, you know, this is a pretty good indication of how you want it to handle. You know, so I was really happy with it. I noticeable improvement, right? And everyone there who has these trucks said the same thing. They were like, wow, that thing is so much better. So I think these mods helped a huge amount. You can see when it lands, it doesn't kind of bounce back as much. I think I could still do some suspension tuning to make it even better. But, you know, with this brushless system, I was able to actually use the power of it, which I could not do before I did these other mods, especially trimming the tires, and I think running the stability control definitely helped, which it's making me wonder. There is a point in the video I'll point out where I turn the stability control up, because on the FlySky, you can set it as a percentage in the controller. It's not just a knob. So I had it set pretty low, like 15-20%. I bumped it up to maybe 35-40, and you could see the truck just start shimmying like crazy. I'll try to point out the clip where you notice that. And what I'm thinking now, looking back at it, is probably all of the slop in those suspension links really started kind of activating the stability control. And it was trying to correct it, but it was just so sloppy that it couldn't. So I turned it back down, dialed it back down a little bit, and really happy with it. So yeah, I mean, it jumps better. Definitely with the 4500 kV. You can see here how bright these lights are at night. Just super cool. It was really hard to see anything else on the track, so you know, we didn't really give time for our eyes to adjust, so I couldn't really do too much running. I would have liked to have got some more dark footage here, but yeah, they're super bright. But I will say this, that they do definitely cut down on the runtime of the battery. So I probably don't need that many lights inside, but it's cool. I like the effect. I probably won't run it all the time anyway, but I kind of like it. I think it looked cool, so happy with that. But yeah, it with the wheel speed with this 4500 kV, you definitely get some serious backflip action. And it's odd. It's like at first when I put this in,
I mean, comparing it to a Mini T, still not
without doing any other mods, I was like, oh, this is way too much power for this. It's way too much speed. And now, since it's handling better, I kind of feel like it's just right. I am curious to try the 2-in-1 brushless kit that I have in my Mini T. I think that's like a 6000 kV, just to see the difference. And I think the fact that it doesn't have an ESC in it, or it has the ESC built into the motor, I think would help lower the center of gravity even more. So that might be worth trying one day, just for the heck of it. I could always change the gearing a little bit if need be, but really happy with this setup. The one thing I don't like with this Hobby Wing setup is when I set it to forward reverse, which would almost be, you can do that with a little jumper on your stock ESC, so it goes directly from forward to reverse, which is great for doing little tricks. On this ESC, for some reason, there's a big lag. There's like a dead spot in between, so I can't immediately go from forward to reverse. It just has like a little, you know, a little lag in it, and it's frustrating. So that might be the only reason I don't keep this setup in here. So I need to find like a brushless setup. Now, the downside with the 2-in-1 combo, it doesn't have the forward reverse mode. So I'm not sure at this point what the best ESC, if I'm going to continue running brushless, I got to see what else is out there. Maybe a Castle setup or a different Hobby Wing setup. I'm not sure yet, but overall I'm happy with this. It's just a matter of just kind of playing around and see what could be a little bit better. That's it, guys. Stay tuned if you want to see more. I'm going to be doing a little more work to this soon. So thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.